Morales after police say she was abducted from Columbus, Georgia on Thursday. And Jasper police told us the teen was located at a residence in Jasper around 3 this morning, along with the man they believe abducted her, Luis Garcia. Jasper police are assisting the Columbus police with the case. They told us the teen's parents have been contacted. Charges against Garcia are pending. He will most likely be extradited back to Georgia. Garcia is being held in the Jasper jail. Well, tomorrow, Tuscaloosa Dr. Robert Bentley will take office as governor of Alabama. Before the inauguration, we sat down with Dr. Bentley in Tuscaloosa to talk about some of the big issues facing our state. One issue, prison overcrowding. Bentley believes in locking up violent offenders and says the Department of Corrections should focus on correcting those who can return to society.
Punish first, because they need to be punished for the crimes that they did, but we need to try to correct them. Have good reentry programs so that they come back into society. They will not come right back to jail.
And here's a look at the schedule for Monday's inauguration. The day will begin with a prayer breakfast at 7:30. That's followed by the inaugural parade at 9:45 and swearing-in ceremony at noon. Then the inaugural celebration from 2 until 5 is open to the public. The inaugural ball is 7 until 10. You can find more information about the inaugural events on our website, WVUATV.com. Click numbers and links, and be sure to join WVUA on Monday for unique coverage of the inauguration, including the West Alabama perspective from Montgomery. Well, moving right along, could some possible good come out of the tragedy 1 week ago in Tucson, Arizona? Although they admit it's purely symbolic, two top senators are planning to do something unique later this month. Shelby Lynn has more.
The President of the United States.
Could we see something different later this month when President Obama delivers his annual State of the Union address to Congress? In a symbolic effort to promote civil discourse, Democratic Senator Charles Schumer and Republican counterpart Tom Coburn said on NBC's Meet the Press they would sit together at the annual speech.
I do think we as elected officials have an obligation to try and tone that down, and if we tone it down, then maybe the media will be less vociferous.
This comes 1 week after Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords was shot in the head at a public forum she was holding in her Tucson, Arizona district. She's in critical condition. 6 others were killed in the rampage. 22-year-old Jared Lee Loeffner is in federal custody, charged in the shootings. Based on strange online postings and videos, some experts believe he's mentally ill. Democratic Congresswoman Grace Napolitano, a co-founder of the Congressional Mental Health Caucus, says it's time to put more focus on mental health care.
It's always something you don't talk about, you don't discuss because of the stigma, and I think we need to address that heavily.
According to one mental health group, over the past 2 years, cash-strapped states have cut more than $2 billion from mental services. I'm Shelby Lynn reporting from Atlanta.
Well, football fans across West Alabama are putting their favorite college teams on the back burner and turning their attention to the NFL. And that's good news for sports bars and restaurants. Managers and employees told us they like to have a big game to bring in a big crowd of patrons on the weekend. And the NFL playoffs are doing just that. But employees at Buffalo Wild Wings we talked to yesterday told us they weren't expecting a big crowd today due to the lack of Sunday alcohol sales. We spoke with employees at BWW's today to see if their prediction held up.
I think business will be much better on Sundays if you can drink, because people associate sports bar with drinking, so they might be more inclined to come eat here than other places if they can get a beer and watch the game, even though NFL's almost over.
Tuscaloosa could get Sunday alcohol sales very soon. The city will hold a referendum on the issue on February the 22nd. Well, speaking of drinking, the Sunshine State's already preparing for spring break, and authorities in Panama City say security is about to get a whole lot tougher. Panama City beach officials will increase state troopers and state beverage control officers. They will be on the lookout for underage drinking. Plans call for a maximum of 12 troopers per day between March 6th and April the 3rd. Beverage officers have the same power as state troopers, but use unmarked cars to monitor bars and clubs that sell alcohol. Well, former Alabama football star Ken Stabler was in town this weekend to unveil a new business project. Stabler held a wine tasting at Wings U to celebrate his new wine. It's called the 12 Championship Collection. Stabler met with fans and talked Alabama football. He also talked about one of his favorite coaches.
Something about him that's hard to put into words. There was an aura about him. that made you want to please him, you know, and the best way to please your coach is to go out and win. You do anything for him, and plus he helped us all out so much with the life lessons of self-sacrifice and discipline and accountability and all those things, and life lessons that I use with my daughters now. I quote Coach Bryant all the time to my daughters, and you know, he left us with some great teachings, and wouldn't take anything for the time I was around him.
Stabler says he still calls Tuscaloosa home. 2 of his daughters attend the University of Alabama. He says fans here are like no other. When asked about Bama's chances next season, he says depth and Saban's always disciplined coaching will create great things for the Crimson Tide. Well, tomorrow is an important day, not only in Alabama because of the inauguration, but around the country because it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The federal holiday marks the birthday of Reverend King. It's observed on the 3rd Monday of January every year, which is close to his birthday, January the 15th. King was the chief spokesman for nonviolent activism in the civil rights movement. He was cut down by an assassin's bullet in 1968. President Ronald Reagan signed the holiday into law in 1983, and it was first celebrated in 1986. It was first observed in all 50 states in the year 2000. Well, we have much more coming up on the News at 10. Just ahead, we'll take a look back at the biggest stories from the past 6 days. The Week in Review is on the way.
And coming up in home team weather, we'll talk about some rain chances in the forecast for tomorrow, and also on Tuesday, also some warmer temperatures could hit 60 degrees by Tuesday. We'll tell you what all that's about, plus another look at some cold temperatures. That's coming up in home team weather. Stick around.
And a big recruiting weekend for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Will Alabama finish with a flurry? John Huddleston has an update on several top prospects later on in Home Team Sports.